Welcome to the Women Faith Plus Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nadine Mullings. I'm an author, speaker, and marketing mentor, and I believe in the importance of women of faith in business stepping up and shining in their lane so they can have the impact, income, and influence they were born to make. Join me this season to hear the stories of powerful women of faith who have authored a collaborative, purpose driven book to make a difference in the world. And be sure to join the Women Faith Plus business community on Facebook by going to nadinemullings.com/community. See you in the powerful community of women of faith in business and enjoy this episode of the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. I'm super excited because today's episode is super special. We are actually recording episode 100 today. So it has been 100 episodes since the launching of the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. We officially launched in September 2020, the year of all the things, right? We launched the podcast in September 2020. So we're almost 4 years at this time of this recording, 4 years strong on the podcast in September, but this is actually the 100th episode. So super exciting. I want to throw confetti or something like that. The most I can do is put an emoji up. So we have a celebration emoji up for those of you that are watching this episode on video. You see that emoji celebration icon in the corner there. And if you're not watching on the video, but you're hearing on the audio, yay for us. That is my announcement for the 100th episode. So I'm super excited, and I just want to take the time to thank you. If you've been following us from season one of the podcast when we launched, and the amazing guests that we had on season one, we had a whole season of Men of Faith. That was awesome. I think that was season 5 was Men of Faith. I had a solo season, which was season 6, I think, which was the solo season. And this entire season, season 8, is a brand new kind of refresh of the podcast, with this whole new idea and format of visionary authors and the panel discussions. So today's episode is a special episode, not only because it is our 100th episode of the Women Faith Plus Business podcast, but it's also a project that I was involved in, and also a mentor and one of my business besties that is the visionary and lead author. So today's project is She Thinks Like a CEO, an amazing collaborative book that I had the pleasure of being a part of. And the lead and visionary author for this book is J Dunlop, which is my business bestie. If you guys follow me online, if you're on my email list, if you watch my YouTube channel, you've probably heard Carol's name mentioned several times. And I think what's so exciting that this is the 100th episode of the podcast is Carol is actually my mentor for launching the podcast. So she helps people to launch their podcast. So she was an integral part of launching the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. She's actually the producer of the podcast behind the scenes. So I'm excited that we get to really celebrate the 100th episode by talking about her project, which is the She Thinks Like a CEO book that I was a part of. So this particular episode, you're going to see the panel of co-authors along with the lead author, J Dunlop of the She Thinks Like a CEO book. And I just wanted to kind of pop in here and do an extra audio for this episode just to acknowledge the fact that it is the 100th episode of the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. So please enjoy this episode. And definitely reach out to me if you've watched season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or even if you've just listened to one episode or you listened to the episode before this episode. I'd love your feedback. I'd love to hear from you. It's always great for you to reach out. So reach out. I'll give you my personal email, Nadine@NadineMullings.com. Reach out to me and let me know how you are enjoying the podcast so far. And definitely, if you've been listening throughout the 8 seasons and throughout the 99 other episodes, give us a review. Give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to. Give us a rating on that platform also. I'm not going to take up much more of this episode. Just wanted to pop in and just make that special announcement about episode 100. But I also want you to go ahead and listen to this episode and enjoy the content as we share about the book, She Thinks Like a CEO. So enjoy this episode and thanks for listening. Hello and welcome everyone to this episode of the Women, Faith Plus Business podcast. I'm super excited for this episode for more reasons than one. I'm excited because I'm going to be interviewing amazing women. I know every episode I'm interviewing amazing women about their collaborative book project, but this is special to me because I'm also interviewing my business bestie and her book project and the amazing co-authors, including myself. Look at that. I'm in the book too. So this makes this episode slightly different. So welcome to the podcast, ladies.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I'm going to start off by introducing the co-authors of She Thinks Like a CEO, Leveraging Technology for Today's Women Leader, and the visionary author, Carol J. Dunlop. So I'm going to be all official, Carol, and read your official bio so that people can know who you are. So Carol J. Dunlop is known as the online wow strategist. She is an 8-time Amazon bestselling author, influential podcast host, an expert event producer, teaches purpose-driven entrepreneurs to convert marketing into money using their wow websites, along with the best unmarketing strategy so they can fund their lifestyles using their business. Carol's clients hail from cities across the US, the UK, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. Carol is currently working to promote the best-selling books, influential podcasts, and expert summits that she and her clients are creating. Welcome to the podcast, Carol.
Thank you so much for having me and all my peeps on here. I love it. Loving it.
Yes. And the amazing co-authors that we have on the panel today is Dr. Lori Mann and Alicia Couri. Is your last name Couri? That's how we pronounce it, Couri?
It's more of an ooh sound, and it's Alicia. So Alicia Couri.
Alicia Couri.
Yeah.
Couri.
Yes.
Couri. There we go. I always mess up someone's name every single
That's
episode.
fine. I'm good.
So don't feel bad. So Dr. Lori Mann, can you tell us a little bit more about you and the amazing work that you do in the world?
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Nadine, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I am a trailblazing business strategist and coach with QualityMediaConsultants.com, where we are a media marketing and sales agency. And we help our clients to improve and increase their clientele, get more brand visibility, and increase their income, impact, and influence in record time. And we do that by showing them how to tap into their brand purpose and in their story so that they can highlight what it is that's unique about them and make a difference in the world.
Love it, love it, love it. Welcome to the podcast. And Alicia.
Yes. Hi, Nadine. Hello, ladies. Thank you so much. And Carol. And so I have 2 verticals in my business. Really, we focus on helping organizations leverage brain science and people data to work better together. So we work with leadership development and teams through consulting and coaching to really help remove friction from organizations and build better culture. We also have a digital platform where we leverage podcasts and web shows to promote women empowerment, self-development, and my tagline is we influence, educate, inspire, and entertain our audiences with audacious confidence. So everything is wrapped up in this kind of blanket of audacious confidence.
I love that. Audacious confidence. We all need that type of confidence. So, we're here to talk about the collaborative book project, She Thinks Like a CEO. And Carol, you're the visionary author, the lead author of this. So, I'm going to start off with you by asking you, what was the vision of She Thinks Like a CEO before it was birthed into the marketplace? What were you thinking about this book? What was this journey? And you can keep it real. What was the journey? How did we get here to birthing this book?
Well, the behind the scenes story is that this book started out as another book. And unfortunately, the publisher fell down on the job with it and did not do what they were supposed to do. And I think we lingered in this thing for, I don't know, 2-3 years. I think initially it was supposed to be out in 2018 and it wasn't. So one day, Lori actually emailed me and she was like, Carol, can we do something about this book? Can we get this book out? What can we do? And of course, by the time that she had reached out to me, I had already had, I think, 6 best-selling books under my belt because I started really producing them, really well in 2020. And I was like, I could do this thing. I produce other books. This is fun. So I got the gang together and I said, we're going to do this book, y'all. We're going to put it out there. We're going to just do it. We're going to publish it and everything. And now it's done. The beginning of the book was really, in the beginning, the book was really about how women can leverage technology. It was named something totally different. It was still good. So we took the best of what that other book was and put more great stuff in it. And it had more, I think, contributions from each one of us than we did before. We changed the layout. We changed everything. I mean, it's a brand new book. It's good. And it really shares what each of us does, what our businesses are, who we reach out to, who our clientele is and all that. And I must say that this second time of producing the book, although I didn't do the first one, came across so quick and easy. We had maybe one Zoom call, and then we all got our assignments, and then we did our things, and then that was just it. Because I remember when we did that first one, it was just so cumbersome. They were trying to do new technology. The technology wasn't working. We just went back to some old school, tell me how to do it, what you want, what's the story, how many words. Boom, we got it. We put it out there and it is a bestseller. So I'm happy with it. I'm glad we were able to come together and do this because, just because you have one upset or one letdown or one thing not go right or people who are not doing their job correctly, that just means more opportunity for me and for us. So we're showing how to do the thing right.
Yeah,
And
I
that was
love
the end
that
of this.
story. Yeah, I love that story, Carol,
Nothing
because
comes easy, right?
exactly,
Good things.
Greatness doesn't come
Greatness
easy at
does
all.
not come easy, right?
exactly. And I love that you shared the journey because sometimes the journey it isn't easy, right? It's difficult. There's obstacles, there's challenges. So being able to share with the audience and everyone that's watching that sometimes your journey to birth your book may include challenges. It may
Yeah.
include obstacles, but you just have to keep pushing through. Lori was like, we can do this. Let's pick it up. Let's change it. And Cal's like, yeah, you're right. We can do this. So it's so
Yeah.
important to have that can-do mentality when it
Mhm.
comes to birthing books, because even you said, Cal, you're an 8-time best-selling author. So technically, when I reached out to you about being on the podcast and spotlighting one of your collaborative books, because you've had several collaborative books, you could have picked any one of your collaborative book projects.
Right.
Why did you choose to pick the one that you had the most challenges and obstacles with and choose to highlight She Thinks Like a CEO? Why did you choose this particular book project to spotlight as the collaborative book that you were part of and produced and published?
Well, the truth is, you have a book that we did together that you're showcasing in another episode. So I don't want to come on and do that book because you were the visionary author for that. And then this one, She Thinks Like a CEO, it was really the most long time coming, most collaborative, I think. And all of us had a piece to go in there because we all have spots in the book that we can say, hey, I did that part, or hey, and it was because of me that this part is in there, and I like that. Plus, we're just a bunch of awesome women entrepreneurs, and I wanted to get us all together because we never are together in the same place at all. We're always doing something. We're always, we got all this stuff going. But I think also all the authors here made use of the technology that people are running away from, screaming about, I don't understand, I can't do this. And I just wanted to show that we do think like a CEO. No men were harmed in this issue or anything, but we do think like CEOs. We are CEOs, and all of us are CEOs of our company. So that was really it. I just kind of left it to God, and he was like, that one. I was like, okay, let's do
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I initially I was surprised, and then I was like, yeah, why not highlight She Thinks Like a CEO? And I think it's probably your longest form book too. Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong. All the other ones are like journals, so it's very short in what the author contributed. But with this book, we contributed pages. All of us contributed a lot. So
a lot
let's
of
shift
pages.
a lot of pages, exactly. So let's shift to the format of the book. The way that the book is formatted is more of like an interview, more of like
Mhm.
answering questions. So each one of the authors answered a series of questions and
Right.
specifically what technology they picked and why this particular technology has been so impactful for their business. So tell us a little bit behind the scenes about the interview format, because not every book is laid out in an interview format. And I know we all have stories of how we initially answered the interviews with recordings, and we had
Mm,
to record the answers. And I believe it was just supposed to be the transcript that was
right.
used for the book. So let's talk a little bit about the format and the interview format, because I feel it's very different, and not every book has that interview answering questions format.
Yeah, that's true. It was just different, really. I mean, there were a lot of great things in the book in the beginning when that first book came out. So we had to make sure that we weren't stepping on any copywriting toes. We all researched that. We all figured, we talked to our respective attorneys or whatever we needed to do, and figured out we had free reign to do whatever we wanted. I did like the format that we had, answering the question, posing the question, answering the question. So basically, all of us answered the same question, but we answered it differently according to what we were doing. So that was an interesting take and different from what I usually do, which are like journals and planners and things like that. And my very first book was a long form book. It was over, I think, 50,000 words or something. So lately I've been doing those shorter books, but this one was I don't know, it was just a good thing to do. And I liked the questions were good. It's questions that everybody asks us as entrepreneurs. What are you doing? How do you do it? What makes you different? Why should I go with you under somebody else? But it also allowed us to kind of put our personalities in there, because we all have such different businesses, and really talk about, if you work with me, this is what you're going to get. This is how it's going to go. And this is what the end game is going to look like. And I really like that, because those are the questions that people want to know anyway.
Yeah, they were definitely good questions. So, Dr. Lori Manns and Alicia Couri, I want to ask you, what made you decide to say yes and continue the journey despite the obstacles, despite the challenges of the initial book project that we were in? What made you say, yes, I want to continue this and get this book birthed out in the marketplace?
Well, my
Dr. Lori.
reasoning was simply because Carol had invited me to participate in the first project, and it went
Mhm,
defunct. And
Mm.
when I decided that, that this topic was still very much a part of entrepreneurship and very timely, even more
mhm,
so than it was a couple of years before,
Mm.
with the emergence of um, artificial intelligence being more pronounced, because it wasn't new. Artificial intelligence wasn't new, but it just started getting bigger headlines with the emergence of ChatGPT and some other things. And so I was like, technology is even more important now than it was 3, 4, 5 years ago. So what are we doing, Carol? Come on. Like, let's come on, crack that whip. Let's get this
Right.
back, on task here and do something with this. We can just, reignite it and make any changes, improvements to what we've done and get it back out there. And I'm somebody, I don't like to work for naught. If I put in
Yeah.
work on something, I want to see the manifestation, the fruition, I want to
Fruits
see
of
my
your
labor
labor.
come.
Yeah,
I
the
want to see
fruits
the
of your
fruit of my
labor.
labor. And we had worked on this project and nothing had come of it. And I was just like, no, that's not acceptable. We have to do something. And it's still timely and it's still topical. So that's just what made me want to do it, because I knew that there were still people out there, especially women of color, that we could influence and we could touch and talk to them about how they could use technology to leverage it in their businesses and grow. And that it's not something to shy away from. There's, even myself, there have been times in my entrepreneurial journey when it was just like, oh God, I don't want to learn another tech anything,
Definitely.
Yeah.
and and it's sometimes intimidating. It's
Yep.
sometimes just daunting to figure out, oh, I've got to learn another app, or I got to learn another social media platform, or I got to learn another whatever it is. And then, if you just kind of like get into it and learn like the basics, even so, even if you hire somebody, if you're being taken advantage of, what to look for, or you at least know some people who you can call to say, hey, what is this supposed to be? Or what is, the main
Yeah.
thing I should be looking for, who I should be hiring to do whatever. And so I just think it's a very timely subject. Technology is always going to be a part of our lives. We're living in the 21st century. This is 2024. God help us all. I can't
I
even
know.
imagine, 20, 30, 10 years from now, but
Yep.
we are truly living in a digital age. And so we just have to not bury our heads in the sand and embrace this technology for all it can help us accomplish and achieve in our businesses.
Yeah, definitely agree. And Alicia, what made you want to go ahead and continue on this project?
Well, I have to agree with Dr. Lori on a few things, but first of all, I just want to say that everything is in divine timing.
Yes.
Divine timing is
Mm,
everything.
mm-hmm,
That was not the time for the book. Was not the time for the book. And I appreciated as much as the delay was unexpected and it was frustrating and everything else for everyone else. Looking back, I really appreciated the opportunity for the delay because my business shifted a little bit, as Carol, when we were doing the launch. And I looked at my chapter because, you said you'll just use everything that we did before. And if we wanted to enhance or change anything, we could. And when looking back at the chapter, I was like, wait a second, no. I don't want to go out there. No. And I'm so thankful that it's not in print out there from before, that I got an opportunity to refresh and bring the information to be more relevant than it would have been back then. So that's what I have to say about divine timing. But I also want to say that to Lori's point, we made the investment. We made the investment of time. We made the investment of money. We made the investment of energy. We gave of ourselves to these chapters really through the interview process and the editing process and all these things. So to abandon it after putting all this in, all that, not just blood, sweat, and tears, but to see it have a new life is exciting. So yes, I would absolutely not want to see all the work that we put into it and all the work Carol especially put into it go to waste. So when the opportunity came back around, of course, I would say yes to that. And it's, and again, to Dr. Lori's point, it's very relevant today. And the opportunity for women to read in there and see, oh, this person can, if they can't help me, at least they can point me in the right direction. These are credible sources credible sources that you can trust, that you can get this information from. We're all out here. We're all still here. So it's not like, this is a book that it's printed and then everybody disappeared. We have our contact information. You're seeing us here, so it's something that people can really trust the information in the book. And I want to call back to one thing that Carol talked about, the interview process. Nadine, you talked about the interview process. And this is the beauty in a book project like this, going through the interview process, is that all the questions were the same, but you get to really experience everyone's differences, because we are all special, unique, and different. If you don't think you're special, unique, and different, just read that book, because everybody was given the same question, and the way that it was answered was based on our experiences. So that makes our experiences valuable, and it makes you realize how valuable your experience will be to someone else reading it. So, but it to me, it gives people who read it hope to know that their value is in their story and in how they can share that with others. So
yeah, definitely. So good. I feel like you preached a sermon. I could break that down into
I
three
know,
different
right?
sermons, like delayed and not denied. That could be a sermon right there. Trusting in God's timing, putting in the work and the effort, and putting your own value and knowing that you're worth it, and the value that you put in, even if you're answering the same questions, your spin on it, your value, your unique perspective is needed and necessary. So let's get a little bit into the content of the book, She Thinks Like a CEO. Each one of us wrote a chapter and talked about strategies and tools that women CEOs, people in business in general, can use and leverage, specifically with technology. So I want to talk a little bit about each person's chapter. So Alicia, you talked about done for you solutions that solves your branding and visibility. And I love that each chapter started off with a quote, right? So your quote, Alicia, was "Everyone deserves to be the best version of themselves" by Stacy London. And the strategy that you shared in your chapter was live streaming. So tell us a little bit about why you chose that strategy and what particular platform you recommend in the book for people to use for live streaming.
Well, as a digital media company that we produce live and curated video. Well, we produce live and pre-recorded and podcast videos. I felt like learning the technology was, there was, and Carol knows this, there was a steep curve when we first started this. Because when I first started this, I used StreamYard as a platform. And the reason I used StreamYard was because we were able to stream into multiple social media at the same time, instead of having to go on multiple devices to try to get one here, and that's how things were done. For those of you who don't know, back 5-10 years ago, that's how we would do things. We'd have to stream on Facebook, and then on YouTube, and then on Instagram here, and LinkedIn here, and all the different things. So I felt like using one platform that will stream, and even now we're on a Zoom platform that also streams. It can now stream on multiple platforms as well. After COVID, now people are more familiar with these technologies. Pre-COVID, when we started writing this book, people were not, and they were not leveraging these technologies. I would talk to people about even being on a Zoom meeting, and they would say, that's not a real thing. Like, they really would think that I was just making stuff up, until COVID hit and everybody became familiar with Zoom, right? So post-COVID now, there are still people who want to stream or have their podcast, have a web show, do something. And I felt like understanding how to leverage StreamYard as a platform would help you get your word out, get your message out, just as I talked about just now, that your story is valuable, your message is valuable. And if you can find a way to leverage that on multiple platforms, then that collapses time for you, because you're not posting here, there, and ever. You're using one place to go in multiple channels, just like you're your own CBS, right? So you're leveraging one piece of content, and it's going in a lot of different areas. So that's the technology I talk about. That's the technology I use. that's what helps me to get some of our shows out. And I've been talking too much, so I'm going to be quiet now.
No, no worries. It definitely is an awesome and amazing strategy. Live streaming is key, and definitely part of live streaming is engagement too. You know, in order to engage on platforms, people really engage with people that are live streaming. So that's another reason why live streaming is so huge, and the ability to distribute that live stream on multiple platforms is definitely efficient and effective as a business owner. So one of the things you mentioned that I just want to end on your section, Alicia, was your quote. So you said, if you truly want to develop a strong brand for your business and have a unique voice in the marketplace that stands out and gets you noticed as an authority in your industry, you need strong video content, and live video is powerful. So that was the quote that you said in your section, and I wanted to end on that quote that you said in your section. And it also is a great way to turn to Dr. Lori Mann's, because you guys actually complement each other in the technology that you chose. And Dr. Lori Mann's, your section is titled Video Marketing is a Must-Have for Today's Entrepreneur. And the quote that started off your section was, one important factor in business success is quickly communicating value. Nothing helps you demonstrate your value faster than a well-crafted brand video. So that's how you started off. Your section was actually a quote by you, your quote. So I love that you highlighted your own quote as a quote heading off your chapter. So you share in your section the marketing strategy of video marketing, and you also talk about the platform YouTube in particular, and beginning and starting off with the power of YouTube. So share with us, Dr. Lori Mann's, about why you selected video marketing for your section of the book.
Thank you, Nadine. Well, I started out with a video because the #1 search engine on the internet is YouTube. And people think it's Google, but it's YouTube. And YouTube has quickly, in the last 10 years or more, become just a massive vehicle to get anything out, right? There are people who only utilize YouTube for their businesses, and they are compensated by YouTube for creating videos and publishing them. And when I started doing videos, I guess about 12 years ago in my business, I started my business 14 years ago, but about a year or year and a half after I started my business, I got the hankering to do YouTube videos, and was just like, you know what, I'm gonna start doing videos and start putting myself out there. And my videos back then were horrible, right? They were just like, I did it on my computer. My graphics were ridiculous. They were just awful, like in terms of branding. And I knew better, but I was like, I'm just gonna try it. I didn't think anybody would even be watching or pay attention. I was just like, just in case they happen to look for me, let me just do a video to show them I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And hopefully, the tech part of it, they won't they won't judge me on. But so because videos were so huge in internet marketing, I decided, I gotta talk about videos, because when I started that YouTube channel, I started getting people from all across the country following me, all across the world following me. I got a client in Africa. I got a client in the UK. I had a lady from Sweden reach out to me. I had a Zoom call with her. And just people started just finding me, and it was because of YouTube. And then I started to repurpose those videos and put them on my blog and on my website and put them on social media. And it just started to get me brand recognition. And I would share insights and business tips and just a little appetizer of what I know how to talk about without having to do any research. And
Right.
I would just give tips, and so what really set it off for me was, you guys know I teach about sales and sponsorship. I did this one video on sponsorship, and
Mm,
almost over like a month period time, I had a couple thousand views on that video.
awesome.
And then after like a year, I had like 5,000 views. And it was like, oh, okay, I need to do something with the sponsorship. Like, people are watching, and every time I would do a video on sales or sponsorship, my views would just like spike and peak. And, I'm a media professional, advertising. That's what I did in my corporate career. So I know marketing, I know branding, I know sales, I know media. But it was something about sponsorship that people were just like tuning in, and like their ears were poking up. And so I was like,
Mm,
okay, well, let me see what I need to do. So I created an event, created a workshop.
mm,
I think, well, no, I created a webinar, then a workshop, then a conference, and then it just took off from there. And it was that YouTube video that showed me that this was a hot topic and I needed to do something more. So I wrote an entire course around it, um,
mm-hmm,
did a workshop around it, and you guys have come,
mm-hmm,
and you've seen
mm-hmm.
it. So that video really triggered it all. And so when I began to get clients from my videos, and I began to get speaking engagements from my videos, that was just an inclination to me that, okay, you've got something to say. People are interested and they're watching. And it was just, following that little still voice in your head that sometimes says, hey, maybe you should do this,
Yeah.
and, for us believers, it's, the Holy Spirit just nudging you saying, hey, this is something that you really need to pursue and go in
Mm,
this direction. And so, when you look at the research, 83% of internet users pay attention to video, and they watch
mm-hmm.
video, they consume video. And so if they're consuming video and they want to watch videos more over reaching them with content, written content, then why not create videos?
So good, so good. And I like that you started off like you're like, I'm gonna jump into this. I don't care how it looks. I'm gonna get my foot out there. And I think that's advice for every entrepreneur, business owner watching. You're not gonna do it perfectly in the beginning, but take that leap of faith, start doing the actions, no matter how imperfect it looks. And look what one video can do that had a ripple effect of a webinar that turned into a workshop, that turned into a conference, that turned into clients, that turned into global reach. You just never know what can happen from that one video. And numbers don't lie. Like you said, Lori, even in your section of the book, you talked about it's proven that using video generates 12 times more shares than text and images on social media platforms. Additionally, customers purchase products at an increased rate of 64% after watching a video. So the numbers don't lie. There's powers in the numbers. And I love your quote in your section, Lori, where you said, once I became seen as an expert and an authority in a certain area, the game changed. The
Yes,
game
absolutely.
changed.
It did change. And I gotta say that, you know, just being a speaker and being able to direct people to my website where I have my speaker information, and also being able to share my YouTube link
Yep,
to show them that I have expertise on several topics and what my knowledge looks and sounds like, and what I look and sound like on camera, that has been a game changer. And it's a beautiful thing when you get an email saying, hey, we've already, checked you out online, and we're wondering if you can come and speak at XYZ event, and
exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that of your chapter. So I'll say really quick what my chapter is about. And Carol had a chapter too, so we do want to talk about your chapter, Carol. My chapter was Go Further Faster, Have Less Stress, and Make More Money. And my quote as I started out the section was, "Your life is a gift from God. What you do with it is your gift to God." And that's an unknown, but I just love that quote. So the strategy that I shared in the book was all about scheduling. I love scheduling and scheduling systems that automate things for you, so it's not manual. So I really felt led to share about that strategy of making sure that you schedule things and you automate your scheduling. And I kind of broke it down in two ways. One was scheduling on your calendar. So if you have clients or prospects that want to schedule time with you, they want a consultation, they want to book something, having a scheduling link, it saves so much time, energy, and effort, and so efficient that I just really had to share about that for entrepreneurs and business owners, especially people new to the game that are doing that back and forth email. What time's good for you? What time's good for you? It's such a waste when you have those scheduling tools that allow you to send a link to someone and they just schedule on your own calendar is so much more efficient and effective. So scheduling when it comes to your appointments and your calendar was one of the first tools that I mentioned when it came to scheduling. The second tool that I mentioned was scheduling your social media posts. So scheduling tools that allow you to schedule on social media, schedule ahead on LinkedIn, so you're not wasting all your time, energy, and effort. Oh, I got to post this on LinkedIn. I got to post this on Instagram. I got to post this on, using those type of scheduling tools to automate it and schedule in advance can be key. One of the things I want to point out is the tools that I did recommend in the book, I'm no longer using. I'm using the strategies, but the tool changed. I was promoting Schedule Once as the tool that you use to schedule on your calendar, and Co-Schedule as the tool that you use to schedule social media. Now I use an all inclusive platform that has all of those tools in one called FEA Create. And the reason why I wanted to point that out is because sometimes the tool changes, but the strategy does not, right? So the tool may change, but the strategy does not. So the strategy that I shared in the book about scheduling and automating that still is relevant and important today in 2024 and was important then when I wrote the book. But the tool that I'm using has changed. So I think it's important that we mention that your tool may change, but the strategy remains the same and the benefits of the strategy remain the same. And the quote that I'll share from my section was, scheduling systems allow you to book your clients faster, which allows you to get clients faster, which allows you to make money faster. So if you're down with making money faster, make sure you're using scheduling tools. So that's what I would say about my section, which was go further, faster, have less stress, and make more money. Now, Carol, as the visionary and lead author, not only was your goal pushing the project forward, you actually had a section in the book too. And your section in the book talked about automate your lead generation and turn leads into clients by leveraging this technology tool. So your title didn't give away what the technology tool is, but we are going to talk about what that technology tool is that you mentioned. But I do want to mention the quote that you started your section out with, and it says, "Some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default," by J.K. Rowling. And I think that's so important. It's important for us to take risk. It's important for us to understand succeeding. Failure is a part of succeeding. So I love that you use that as your quote for your section, Carol. So I want to talk about the fact that the strategy that you're talking about, that is the technology that you need to use for lead generation and turning leads into client, is actually email marketing. So tell us why you chose the technology email marketing for your section.
Well, first of all, I want to say something about us getting all this stuff together. Yes, I brought everyone into that previous project, and I had a heaviness on my heart because I brought these women in and I told them this is going to be great and awesome and wonderful. And it was for a time till it tanked. So when Dr. Lori came to me and said, "Hey, what are we going to do?" I saw this as the perfect opportunity to kind of get that monkey off my back and do something that we could all be proud of, because our whole thing in the beginning was to have a book. They never promised a best-selling book, but at least a book. And that the thing that it became a best-selling book was just, I feel so absolved now, it's good. But I did want to talk about email marketing, because people say, I hear it all the time, email marketing is dead. Why are you still doing email marketing? Don't nobody use that. I don't even open my own emails. That, I don't care if you open your emails or not. Email marketing is still alive and kicking. It is the way that I make most of my money, because I email my people at least twice a week. Once on just an off week, but at least twice a week. They're hearing from me. I talk about personal stories. I talk about business stuff. I talk about the promos I have. I advertise where I'm going to be, my events, all the things I'm doing. And then I kind of just also just get to know them. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your business? How can I help you? I have this one thing that I do that is really on automation, which is part of the chapter, where there's I think it's called What Did You Do This Week? I believe that's what it is. It's totally free. Anyone can sign up for it. And all it does is every Friday, it sends my people an email that asks them, what did you do this week? How did it turn out? And they can answer it and reply back to me if they want, or they can just answer. I have several people that reply to me every single week, and I'm always excited to see what they're doing. I even have this lady who is actually legally blind, and she has helped me to actually do some things to my website, because she would tell me this button doesn't work, or I don't like that right there. I can't utilize this piece. And so I would turn to her a lot of times, go look at this now. What do you think about this? And she would come back and give me a thumbs up or kudos or something. But the fact that I am not excluding anyone, I'm including all that want to be included. And I can let them know what's going on and what's happening. Because the thing about email marketing is, if you don't touch your people at least once a week, you're really failing, because they need you. They need stuff from you. They need things happening. They need to reach goals. And if you're not helping them, why should they even consider being on your list? So I want to be a help and not a hurt to my people. And I learned in the very beginning, when all this technology started coming out, right? Let's say about 2005 or so, that you need to contact people. I mean, I was just, how do I do this? And I had built email lists up before, so I know that they're very important. And don't listen when people say that email marketing is dead. The ones that are telling you that it's dead, they are actually making money using email marketing. Bye, Lori. So don't listen to people. It's so funny when people tell you things about, oh, I don't do this. Oh, don't do this. As a matter of fact, I was looking at this girl's masterclass or webinar, and she was saying, don't use webinars and masterclasses to sell your products and services and stuff. Use this thing that I've come up with. I was like, chick, you are on a webinar telling me not to use webinars because they don't work anymore, to sell the thing that you're trying to sell, which includes a webinar. So, you can always listen to what people say, because they don't tell you the exact things. They make it seem like what they're doing is not what they're doing. But if you go to any guru, any large corporation, any big box store, they are sending emails like fire every single day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. Of course, we don't have to do that, but once a week, you need to connect with your audience and see. And I knew that that was important, and I knew automation was important. So I kind of put those two things together, because when I first got out there, and they were saying you need to have a lead magnet or an opt-in, I was like, okay, cool. But they didn't tell you need to have an email sequence behind that opt-in, because if somebody opts into something and then it just, they don't hear anything else from you, what do you think they're going to do? They're not even going to remember you. So if somebody opts into your list at 2:00 in the morning, what are you gonna do? Wake up all of a sudden, oh, I got to send this email? No, that's too late. They've already, by 8:00 in the morning, they've forgotten about you. So that was like hand in hand, and I knew it worked. And I know that's something that not only women leaders need to know, men, whoever. If you're out there, if you have a business, you need an email list. You really do. And not only do you need a list, but you need to be talking to those people and using that list as often as you can, because that's where your audience lives.
Love that, Carol. So important. Email marketing is not dead. Let's
Mm-mm.
make that statement now. It's alive and kicking and working well, and people are making money from email marketing. So it's definitely an important strategy to use in your business. Now, the tool that you recommend in in your section, Carol, was Active Campaign. So tell us a little
Mhm.
bit. Are you still using Active
I
Campaign?
am.
Okay, and tell us
Yes,
a
I
little
am.
about why you chose Active Campaign.
Well, Active Campaign I learned about it from another coach, and she was like, "Oh, you need to try Active Campaign. It does this, this, and this." When she listed off the first three things that it does, and one of it was automation, I was like, "I'm in. Let me go find out about that thing." So I found out about it. I loved it. I still use it to this day. I still recommend it to people because if you have this choice, maybe you're using some other email service that doesn't have automations attached, or maybe you're using a free one that says, hey, you can get your email, just start it free, and it doesn't have automations attached. Ditch that and get to automations. Like I said, you're not up 24/7, and Active Campaign allows you to, it doesn't matter if I'm up. I can set up a landing page. I can put an automation on there, and I know that that automation is going to run. So even if those people get a freebie, they're going to buy, most likely they're going to buy something by the end of the automation, or I've got a lifetime member of my list who will eventually buy something. Because I've had people just I want to say maybe 2 months ago, this lady reached out to me. She was like, Carol, I'm finally ready to do my website. And she had signed up for what I call an online wow assessment. I was like, who knows about the online wow thing? I still have it out there, but not that many people sign up for it. Lo and behold, okay, it's at the end of my Saturday biz news. You can use email, and it says, have you scheduled your wow assessment? And that's what she did. And we signed on the dotted line, and she's got her website going, up and running. So
Yeah,
people are looking at you 24/7. And, in my bio, I deal with people who are not in this country, who are not in this state, who are in this state, who are in this country. So what does that mean? That means time zones. That means that when I'm getting up in the morning, somebody else is going to bed. So I
right.
can't rely on, okay, I'm sending my email out every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. That could be somebody's morning, somebody's afternoon, or somebody's evening. And the reason that I love Active Campaign is they do this tag system. So it's not like you have to have all these lists. I got the new people list, I got the old people list, I got this, and I'm talking about older clients, not older, like 80
Right.
something. I would say
Right.
60 something, but since I'm 62, I can't say that they're older. I'm
Now you
still in
say
the
80.
youngest.
Now you're like,
Let's
oh,
say
80
80
is
for
old.
now.
And then
But
when you're
You
80,
keep
you'll say
moving that
100.
line.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Gotta keep
moving that
pushing
line,
that
moving that
line
line.
of old back.
Yes,
When she hits
definitely.
80, it will be 100. You're
Oh yeah,
old when you're
yeah,
Exactly.
100. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So, you have to be thinking about all that, conscious of all of that you're doing, because you're in your little bubble, you're looking at your little screen, you're like, well, I'm just going to send this out. Nobody is going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go read your email. So
Yeah.
automation
So,
just helps you to put it out if you want, the time you think your people are there, or it also does that know, like, trust factor, so that you can have like a welcome series. Hey, welcome to my email list. This is what I'm all about. The next one is, hey, you can connect with me in all these ways. I know there's one coach who, I think she had 26 emails in her welcome series, and
wow,
it
that's a lot.
explained all of the things she did. It took them up to like 6 months before
Mm,
they even got on the regular email series. They were just finding out all about her. So there's so
yeah.
many different ways to use it. But I liked Active Campaign. I like the price point, number one, because they are not cheap, but they're not expensive. They're kind of middle of the line, and they function much better than a lot of other things that I had used with other clients before. And it just suited where I was. And I think that's really important for all of the technology, to figure out where you are, what you're going to use this thing for. Does it suit you where you are now? Even if you change, because you might outgrow. If I find
Mm,
something that's better, and I do have my eyes on something else, but I just don't want to invest that much money into it every month right now. So right now I'm good, but I'm always on the lookout for what's better, what's faster, what's easier, what's this, what's that. I may not find it, but I may. And like you said, the tools can change, but the concept is still there. If it doesn't do automations, if it doesn't do the tag system where I can tag somebody, and when they buy something, that I don't have to email them anymore and bug them, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. Because
Right.
that's kind of what got me to looking forward in the beginning, because this one person was on my list and I was like, Carol, why do you keep asking me to buy this thing? I already bought it. And I was
Right.
like, oops, I'm sorry.
Right.
I was like, I
Yeah.
got to stop this right now. And I think that next week I'd sign up with Active Campaign. So if they get something, they've already bought it, it's by mistake. They shouldn't have gotten it. So I want it to be a seamless thing, a seamless road that they go on, so they don't have to think about, I already bought this. Why are you talking to me? Because that gets annoying after a while. No, I
Yeah,
want you to go on to
definitely.
bigger and better things. Get on this other list so you can find this other stuff that you need, not this old stuff. Let's come to a new place.
Yeah, definitely. Active Campaign is an awesome tool. I've used it also, and Carol recommended it to me, and I used it for several years. Still love it as a tool, but as I said, I changed to an all-inclusive platform that has tons of tools, like 10 on one platform. So it just made sense for me to switch to that. So yeah, Active Campaign is an email marketing, marketing automation, sales automation, and CRM
Mhm.
software platform
Mhm.
for small to medium-sized businesses. So I'm going to end on this note. What do you want readers to take away from the book? Alicia, what would you want readers to take away from your section? If you want to just summarize it in one word, one phrase, or one sentence, what would that be that you would want people to take away from your section of your book? And Carol, what would you want them to take away from the entire book, from the project? What would that one word, one phrase, or one sentence be to take away from the book itself?
All order, Nadine. Uh, I also just wanted to call back to what Carol was talking about with email marketing, because
Yeah,
your email list is your business. So
it
for those who
is.
say that email is dead, your email list is your business, because if Facebook shuts down, if LinkedIn shuts down,
Mhm.
which
Yep.
I got
So
shut out
true.
of LinkedIn, if you don't have those people on your email list, so don't ever think email list is dead. If you don't have a way to contact them other than DMs, you're dead in the water. So
Agreed.
read Carol's
It is your number one asset in your business. So true, Alicia.
Yeah.
contact list. Right.
Yep.
So yes. So that being said, if I had to summarize my chapter, it would be about developing audacious confidence. It's like my chapter will help you develop audacious confidence when it comes to getting your message out using video, using live streaming, because it is the number one, video is the number one tool to use
Mhm.
now in marketing. And so audacious confidence, build audacious confidence, because you have to get enough confidence to step in front of the camera and to
Mhm.
go live. Because if you're doing
Yep.
it recorded, you can always shut it down. But to go live, you need
Yeah,
audacious,
Right.
and it'll help you
me
build that.
too. I agree 100%, Alicia. That's great. Audacious confidence. And for me, I would say for my section, automation makes you efficient and effective. So if you want to build efficient and effective business, turn to scheduling automation. That would be the phrase that I would recommend for people based on my chapter and those scheduling tools that I shared about. So Carol, what do you want people to take away from the book? What is that one word, phrase, or sentence?
I would love people to take away from the book that technology is not scary. Technology is needed and necessary. And I know that's more than just one word or phrase, but it's true. It's needed, it's necessary. You can't do anything now without utilizing some bit of technology and doing something, especially with everybody on the AI craze. Oh my God, AI can do this, AI can
Yep.
do that. Yes,
Like it's not been around forever.
right, right,
Yeah,
right. I mean,
yeah.
AI does certain things, but there are certain things that AI can never do. And that human input, your feelings, your wishes, all of that. And the other thing about this project I'm so proud of is we teach you all the major stuff that people are thinking about. Like Renee
Mm,
Coakley was talking about Canva. How many
mhm.
people know about Canva, use Canva, utilize Canva?
Yep. I
Tina
love
Bolt.
Canva.
Right, I do
Yeah.
too. I do too. Tina Bolden was talking about Mile IQ, and you may be like, Mile IQ, what is that? but she's a tax person. So she was telling you how to save money on your taxes and actually have all your records in one place. That was phenomenal. And then we talk about video marketing. Y'all know I love video marketing. I love me some video marketing. So we have two people who are talking about video marketing, but in totally different ways, in totally different genres, but they're still talking about this stuff. So we all kind of like have a piece of the puzzle. And what we were talking about is this things that not only women entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs as a whole need, but especially women entrepreneurs, because sometimes we just are on the little lack bus. We wish we could do that. We wish somebody had told us that. We wish we had this right here, but it's all at your fingertips. All you got to do is get this book right now and go through it, look at the authors, see what they're doing, and then check us out. We have all of our contact information. So if you say, well, maybe this person can help us, but what about this? And then the other thing is we all collaborate on one thing or another all the time. So that shows that, we're fluid in what we do, and we walk our talk, we talk our walk, and we know our stuff. So it would be good if y'all invest in this book, because you're going to find some good stuff.
And you actually brought up a good point, Carol. Let us know. She thinks like a CEO. Of course, we had 3 of us from the book on the panel today, 4 including Lori, who had to drop off. I will recognize that Lori had to leave a little bit early. She's a busy woman. She's a CEO. Oh, yeah. She not only thinks like a CEO, but she's running a business and she's busy and couldn't stay the entire time for the whole episode. But let everyone know how many total women were in the book. So it wasn't just us 4, but total it was how many women in the project?
7. I think
7
it was
total.
7. Yeah.
7 total, and they all shared 7 different tools. So I definitely recommend, going ahead and getting that book. She Thinks Like a CEO, Leveraging Technology for Today's Women Leaders. And Carol, what's the best place for them to purchase the book?
Oh, that's so simple. Go to my website, csi-corporation.com/she-thinks. I believe it's she-thinks. It's either she-thinks or she thinks. Either way, she gonna think.
Yes, exactly. So go to Carol's website and get the book there. They can also purchase on Amazon, right? It is available on Amazon. And each one of the co-authors also have books too. So you can also go through the co-authors too. So you have multiple ways to get to this book. There's no excuses. She Thinks Like a CEO is available for each and every one of you that's watching, that's listening, to really leverage technology, learn from the ladies in the book as women CEOs, as women business owners, as women leaders. It's a really important book to have to really leverage technology. So I'd love to end on this note, and really learn how people can connect with you. What is the best way for people to connect with you if they want to learn a little bit more about the work that you do in the world? How do they connect with you, Alicia, and then Carol?
Sure. It's really simple. It's alicia360.com. So alicia360.com, they can connect with me. They can WhatsApp, email, find me on all the social media platforms through that hub.
All right. I love that. Alicia360.com. And Carol, how can people connect and reach out to you?
This is also simple. Just go to my website, csi-corporation.com. There's lots of goodies, freebies, information, resources, and maybe some things about how you can get started with your own book yourself and be a visionary author.
Love it, love it, love it. And of course, people know how to connect with me on NadineMullings.com. Just use my name, and I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Those are my top 3 platforms, so you can connect with me there. This has been a great conversation. I have enjoyed it immensely. Getting to talk about our book project, and birthing this particular book out in the marketplace and what we went through to get here, has been a joy and a pleasure sharing it with you guys and having an opportunity to share it on the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. So thank you, ladies, for joining me today and sharing our experience and our journey in birthing this book.
Thank you. And don't be intimidated by technology.
No, exactly. No. Don't be intimidated.
We got this.
Embrace technology. All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Women Faith Plus Business podcast. I hope this episode has been insightful and inspiring and has offered you an opportunity to take action to transform your life and your business. Wherever you are listening, be sure to rate and review the podcast and also subscribe to get the next episode right in your inbox by going to womenfaithandbusiness.com to join our email list.